Hello folks, Jason Chrisman, JC's Bees, your Central Ohio beekeeper. Boy, I tell you, after that recent storm this week, I sure hope everybody's hives pulled through and I hope everybody's safe and sound. I know here in Central Ohio there was a lot of people that lost electric for an extended period of time. Knock on wood, we were not one of those families to go without power. Our power did flash a little bit, but it came right back on, like I said, knock on wood. We really didn't have much tree damage either, considering the winds that hit here the other night. Boy, I tell you, that wind. I really figured I'd come out and find this nuke here toppled over on its side, but very fortunately, looked out here the next morning and it's still standing. I don't know how that happened, but it did. So I guess somebody was watching over my bee yard, and I appreciate that. You know, I've been kind of falling behind on videos here recently, and I want to give you a little bit of an explanation on that. Things have gotten very, very busy here towards the end of May and into June. Not only am I getting my nukes out to customers and trying to finish that up for the season, still have a few more to go on those, but I tell you, the nukes have been looking great this year. The bees are doing a great job. It's been wonderful to have all the nectar sources that we have in spring to keep the nukes going. I haven't had to do any feeding, and yeah, they're looking great. And so on top of that, we're calving at our leased farm, so I'm watching for new calves every day and moving the cow herd to a different paddocks every day to keep them on fresh grass. And I'm also weaning last year's calves from the herd, so a lot going on. And then to top it off, I got a little surprise I want to share with everybody here at the end of the video, but I'm going to give you a little tidbit about what it is, I guess, right now. We got Ladybug a friend. And if you don't know who Ladybug is, she's my dog, and or our dog. And she's on my videos a lot. She's not out here with me today, but I'm going to share a little secret about Ladybug's new friend here in a minute. So what I want to talk about today is a new smoker fuel that was just recently sent to me to try out. And when I say recently, I guess it wasn't actually, it was probably about a month and a half ago at this point. I wanted to give the product a thorough try before I mentioned it. And what it is smoker pellets for our smokers. Here's what the bag looks like. And I'll tell you, I am amazed at how well these pellets burn. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, they are a little bit cumbersome to get them to burn. But once you get a nice hot cool down in there burning, or a few pellets, I guess I should say, burning really well, these burn for hours. So if you've got a lot of hives to work and you toss these in your smoker, you're not going to have to worry about it going out before you're done beekeeping or with all of your duties in your bee yard. So what I found with these pellets is they are a little bit more cumbersome to light. And I say that because I am used to using pine needles for smoker fuel. And well, if you compare pine needles to this, the pine needles is almost like lighting gasoline. It lights, seriously, it lights that easy. So when I compare it to this, there really isn't much of a comparison. The pine needles being easy to light, well, the downside to them is they burn rather quick. These burn for hours. It just takes a little bit more to get them going. You can see we got smoke here. What I'll do is give it a little bit more heat just to make sure we got good smoke. This morning, there we go. And now we should be ready to go. Now another thing I like about these is they're made right here in Ohio. And if you would like to give them a try, I'm going to leave all this information about these pellets down in my video description. You can go down there and check it out and order you a bag of them to try. So yeah, pretty neat to have options in the bee yard. I'll tell you what came in real handy. I mentioned that I use the pine needles most commonly, and that's just because my property all the way around our 5 acres is wrapped with pine trees. So pine needles are a very easy source, and they're a free resource, so why not use them? But what I did notice was handy the other day. We had a nice heavy rain, and later that afternoon I was planning to make or transfer nukes from wooden boxes over to cardboard nukes for customers to pick up the next day. Well, I came out and realized, oh, I didn't stock any pine needles and put them in a bucket and store them in a dry place. So now I have wet pine needles that aren't going to light. What am I going to use to light my smoker? I fell right back on these, and they did a wonderful job. Yeah, and one thing I do want to point out too is pine needles, they burn very, very hot. So if you do burn pine needles, what you should do is throw some green grass on the very top of your smoker fuel. That way it cools the smoke down before it leaves the smoker. These burn rather cool, and they burn for hours. So give them a try, folks. See what you think. So now I want to share a little bit about Ladybug's new friend and our new addition to our house, Moose. We picked up Moose on May 26th, so we've had him for a little while. And when we picked him up, Ladybug was in full heat, and we have no intentions of breeding the two. But we didn't want to lose out on the chance of getting Moose, so what we did was we took turns with the two dogs, one in a crate for 3 hours and one out, and then we would switch them, and we did that all day long. So that was very intense on my part to do that all day. The wife's leaving for work and she's coming home, and then she leaves again. So it was pretty much on me to do that, balance the cow herd and all the things I got going on up there and my nukes. So you see why videos kind of fell low on my list there for a little while. But I'm back, folks, and we're gonna keep her going. But anyway, when we got Moose, his actual name when we picked him up was Cremo. And you know, that's all right, I guess, if that's the name you pick. But being the wife wasn't real crazy about it, so we took the Mo on the end and made it Moose. How we got from Mo to Moose, I don't really know how it happened, but we both looked at each other one day and said, Moose. And I said, yeah, he is a big old moose, that works perfect. So anyway, we've been working with him, trying to give him some obedience, and when we got him, he didn't really seem to know like he knew much of anything. As far as lay down, no, don't jump. He was potty trained and crate trained. He's not aggressive at all. He is a big old dog, but he's not aggressive. Luckily, I mean, when you don't listen to no, you don't want him to be aggressive. So what we did was we ended up buying a little treat bag that goes on your hips, and I bought some little salmon treats and I put them in there, and every day I'd bring him out, I'd work on different commands. And we're getting to now where he knows what no means, he knows what lay down means and sit. He's learning his name pretty well. He can be across the yard and I can holler Moose and he'll come running. I don't know if you can see in there in the background, but our chickens and ducks free range daily, every single day out here in the yard. So that was a big concern too. How is Moose going to do with our free ranging poultry? And you know, he definitely kept an eye on them the first couple of days. And for the first couple of weeks, we never let him off of the leash. And when he was off the leash, he was on a 50-foot rope tied to one of our trees. And we sat out there and kept a close eye on him. And you know, we had to holler at him a few times, Moose, leave it alone. And he would. He is very easily distracted. So the slightest noise from a chicken, he's on it. Slightest noise from the ducks, he's on it. So you just gotta get his attention, distract him for a minute, and let him know, hey Moose, that's not good. You can't be doing that, buddy. Leave it alone. And he's coming around, I tell you. Been working with Pee-wee here a little bit. Got him some salmon treats. He's really digging them. Stay. Come here, Moose. Good boy. I swear he didn't have any obedience when we got him. It's taken forever to get to this point. He's learning. Sit. Moose. Sit. 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 Good boy. Stay. This is with the chickens and the ducks right out here in the yard. Matter of fact, there's a chicken right there. There's 2 chickens behind him. Moose! Moose! Good boy. Don't eat my fingers, buddy. The last week, we've just been letting him loose out here with Ladybug, and they've been doing rather well together. I think Ladybug keeps him in line though, I ain't gonna lie. So, as far as the introduction of him and Ladybug, that happened, let's see, today's Saturday, so 1 week ago actually, at this time. The wife and I, both on leashes, brought both the dogs out. One was in the crate, I believe it was Ladybug at the time. And either way, we put them both on a leash and we brought them outside and we walked them back and forth side by side, but we spaced them apart far enough that they couldn't touch each other. You know, they've lived in the same house for 2 weeks at this point. They already smelled each other. Moose already knew Ladybug was in heat and she's coming out. But at this point, last Saturday, we were sure Ladybug's heat was over, and we thought we would go ahead and introduce them. And you know, that's kind of a scary thing to do when you've got 2 big dogs like this. Ladybug herself is 100 pounds last time I weighed her. And Moose, he's supposedly around 75 pounds, but I haven't actually weighed him myself. So to get 2 dogs like that together and things go wrong wouldn't be good. So we wanted to make sure, you know, since we're going to be keeping both of these dogs in our house, that they get along and everything is kosher. Of course, in our eyes, Ladybug is princess, so anything Moose does out of line needs corrected. Ladybug, she just, I don't know, she just doesn't act up. She's the calmest dog I've ever had. So what we did is we introduced them slowly on the leash, and then we slowly brought them into each other and let them play a little bit. Moose. And then that progressed to bringing both of them out in the yard, leaving Moose tied up on his 50-foot rope or 25-foot rope, whichever it was, and letting Ladybug roam the yard. And she could go into his area and play when she wanted and escape at the same time. And I tell you folks, I think they're becoming buddies. Ladybug won't really show any positive signs because she's just so chill. But she's getting to where they'll both lay on the couch together, and when I let Moose out of his crate in the morning, her tail just goes 100 miles an hour until he comes out and actually greets her, and then she's like, nah, I'm done. She just turns and walks away. There's no growling or anything, but you know, Ladybug's like super relaxed dog, and he's a little bit puppy acting, really. He's supposed to be 4, but I tell you, he's full blast. As of right now, they're both in the house, laying on the couch in the air condition, so life is good. Anyway, folks, sorry I've missed a few weeks on my videos there. Things have been getting hectic, and I ain't gonna say I ain't gonna fall behind again, but I will say I'm gonna try and do a lot better job, and things should start to balance out once I get these last few nukes out of here and finish up the weaning of the calves. That'll give me a lot more free time. Anyway, check out them smoker pellets. Oh, one more thing about them smoker pellets. Or any smoker fuel for that meaning that you've got in your smoker. If you're out in your bee yard working your bees and you find that you're done working your bees but you've still got your smoker half full of good fuel, what you can do is make you a wooden cork and stick in the top of your smoker so it can't breathe, and it will put itself out, and then the next time you go back you can relight it and keep on going. And that would work with pine needles, the smoker pellets, anything, any of your smoker fuels. So just something to think about. I know I'm commonly ripping big long strands of grass by the handful, and I'll bend them over and I'll push that down into the top of my smoker, and works really well, really. So anyway, thanks for watching folks, and we'll see you next week.